Hey there, fellow female activists, and so many others who want to stop fascism and bring back or rebuild actually much better what was originally here. So, Cathy is here, your wellness coach. And on the occasion that I'm not talking about wellness specifically, i.e., um, um, specifically mental, physical, and emotional health, okay, as well as movement. We are here today. This is an extra, so no positive quotient repetitions. We're just getting into it. But when I have something really relevant that I want to share or that I've heard about, I want to make sure that I'm timely and then I'm sharing it with you. So today is July 18th, 2025. And I have been in contact with a really cool grassroots organization called Peaceful Return. And they put together what you're seeing here. It's called the Exodus Guidebook. And it's really cool. It's for anyone who really wants to divest, okay, in what basically has been the stronghold of the fascist movement, which is basically all the capitalistic theocracy that then became into the bro movement, right? The very concentrated amount of basically, tech billionaires who decided, no, we want to be in control of everything and we will rule over everyone, regardless of what they believe. And so this is a really neat, and I'm just leaving it here so you can see what's in the info. But I wanted to go straight to um, this. And because this is what I want you to concentrate on. So on page 17 is a really cool synapses. Okay, so for those of pretty much everyone who has no attention span, this is a really neat matrix table that shares how we can get out of the danger zone, okay, or how to avoid and migrate in these specific type of areas, which is our life now, right? We're all about tech, and then go into more safe alternatives. And I really wanted to showcase this because it's so important that we understand how we fight back. And I'll admit, I found this, I say timely that I share stuff, but I wanted to test this out myself. So I actually, I believe, found out about this, maybe even it's been since the end of May. But I wanted to put myself through these steps, right? So I can honestly say, okay, I've only taken certain steps. I haven't like totally divested from all the danger zone services, right? But I'm taking the steps. I'm going at the pace that I can to see how I can get through this. And it's so interesting because the services that I used to use, i.e. Firefox, I stopped using it for the ease, right? So I'm an Apple diehard, right? Like I'm an Apple fan forever. And so it's so hurtful to know that Apple is on the list of what to avoid. Now, here in the US, we don't have a lot of options when it comes to tech, especially when it comes to our actual phones, right? And so uh, it's hard to see this because it's like, I don't ever want to stop using iPhone. I went to iPhone simply because it was supposed to be better safety, right? It was supposed to give me security, right? And now that's not the case because, hello, the CEO of uh, Apple paid how much, right? Or I think it was like $1 million to the stupid spectacle that was the inauguration back in January. But beyond that, they have used and manipulated their power, one for their own gain, right? But also to make it possible that this oligarchy of tech bros now exists. And that's hard. But wherever you can, however you can, take the small steps. This was interesting. So again, I, for a long time, didn't want to move from, which is even worse, but Microsoft. I didn't want to move away from Microsoft products, interesting enough, even though they pretty much were very instrumental in ending Roe. Okay. So that's why you got what we did with the jobs decision. But for the longest time, I said, no, I don't really want to, I don't like the Apple versions of the Microsoft Office. So I stuck around. But then for at least a good, like everyone was transitioning to Google Docs or to the Google Suite, I should say. And I was just like, yeah, I fight it and fight it. And then I finally started to just only use Google Suite. Well, now that's to our detriment, right? So we have to do what we can to protect ourselves. So this is not going to be easy, but understand that it's in your best interest to do what you can. So this was a really neat matrix, again, at a table that just shows what you need to start really divesting from, if and all possible, right? And keep in mind, so many companies, even those of us fighting democracy, right? Or rather fighting fascism, all the people and all the organizations that I volunteer for and or hopefully, have a relationship with for whatever reason, they all use all these. So this isn't going to be something that just happens overnight. This is something we all have to like proactively take upon ourselves. So I wanted to make sure, but I wanted to visually show you what this looks like. So here's a printable reminder of the tech to avoid. Now, look at that for a moment. Really look at it. Count on your fingers how many companies those are. Hello? Put up your hand. That's how many freaking that there's only 5 major companies that are holding us hostage, quite literally, because they have so much power. And it's interesting because what we consider convenience has been our undoing, right? So again, I am all about uh, efficiency. I'm all about organizing. That's what I teach my clients, right? And yet here I am actually helping the actual tech bros that have now destroyed most of our lives. So when you look at this, understand again, I am all about. I have been with Apple since again because I was a little kid. So I'm a 70s baby, which means that I didn't start school with tech. But guess what? By the time I was like in middle school, we had Apple IIe's in our, if not our classrooms, we had a computer lab, right? So I have known Apple all my life almost, okay, or at least through my school years. And so I have a deep loyalty to them, and they have served me well. Or I should say, the devices have served me well. And the same when it comes to trusting Alphabet. How many even knew that Alphabet was the company that was now part of, right? They own Google, they own YouTube. It's hard. I'm on YouTube right now, right? So it's interesting because you look at this and you're like, holy moly, this is where we've given our power or given up our power, right? And now we have to decide how to get it back. And there is a way to get it back. Again, that's what I wanted to show. So this is interesting. What I liked about this reference is that it gave visuals, okay, it's what, 24 pages, right? But some of that is table contents and blah, blah, blah. But this is interesting because this is actually, it says EU Digital Independence Map. So just like here in the US, in Europe, right, or anywhere else for that matter, they are learning to step away, okay? But even if this is the EU, we use all of these same platforms, right? So here's a perfect example, Netflix and Disney. Yep. And here's an alternative. So I'm assuming that even if you're not in the EU, you could use a VPN and decide to start using this platform. Again, this isn't going to be easy, but what's the alternative, right? Again, tech was supposed to help us, right, in so many ways. And now we're a slave to it. And I mean that quite literally because I'm right here. I'm using everything that it shouldn't be to talk to people out in the Ethernet, right? And we can still make sure that we divest from what we can and still make a difference. So I wanted to put that in the easiest terms, meaning that I wanted you to know that there is a guide, okay? And it shows it in different formats how to get rid of the platforms that we're using. Again, I'm a Mac girl. Will I hang on to Apple? You know, honestly, I probably will. And that's sad, right? But I'm being honest. I am telling you, whatever you can, decide what you're going to start getting away from. I can tell you right now that the hardest one for sure will be email. And it's not listed here, but it is listed here on how to change up when it comes to email. Okay. So I have taken the first step and have decided to try out Proton Mail. Okay. So I'm going little at a time, right? It's interesting because right here is that this one, I haven't tried it, but it's telling you right here the big tech alternative, okay, to what I'm thinking is Yahoo and AOL, Outlook, Microsoft, right? So don't be afraid to experiment, okay, is my takeaway here. Don't be afraid to experiment. Yes, you can keep open what you are trying to divest from, but understand that little by little, you get to become brave. So again, I just started again, I added the Firefox platform back on to my laptop. And I'm going to start really just going at it, getting used to it again, and, hoping for the best. But if we all take these little steps, it makes a difference. Okay. This is on the tech side. Like, this is how we run our lives, right? But I also want to bring back to you again how, in fact, we did live before tech, right? Mutual aid, okay, is a term that's used often in the grassroots organizing space, right? And it's how we survive. Let me take these off now. I hate having these glasses on and I'm looking at the camera, but it's how you survive, right? When everything else around you that's supposed to be serving you goes away. And we're in that now. So it means that mutual aid is what's going to keep us alive as we fight. And realistically, as all the other, social justice mentors of mine are telling me, this we may not see in my lifetime the changes we want to see. But oh my goodness, we cannot live like this for the next 4 years. And so there's definitely going to be a reckoning, but we all get to at least help each other, right? And knowing that what's happening right now, currently, as this drops, the whole MAGA cult, I call it the MAGA Seven Mountains death cult. The cult is like starting to fracture big time. And that is for one main reason. And I don't need to go into the reason why, but basically this fracture in the cult, a lot of former cult participants, i.e. people who were in cults, not just the MAGA one, but in different cults are saying, no, this is it. This is the moment of the actual ending of MAGA. So what happens when that happens? Because they're saying, oh, it's happening. Like, this is it. The brains are breaking. So as much as you are working on, again, your own divesting from what this life used to look like, right? Now we are actually dealing with these same people that got us into this moment, right? Now they're having this revelation, so to speak. And now, beyond us just trying to deal, right, with trying to divest from the horrible people that are making this happen, and then mutual aid to help those of us who are trying to survive, now we're going to get to deal with the onslaught of people who were not in reality and now all of a sudden are dropped into reality. I don't have the capacity. Again, I'm a wellness coach. I talk about mental fitness. I talk about being able to take any situation and turn that into a gift and opportunity. And even I know that mentally, I don't have that capacity right now. Like when I think about my neighbors, and there's probably a lot more than I want to even think about, but there was a close neighbor of mine, a family friend. Oh my gosh, I don't even talk to that person anymore. And to think, and I'm going in my head right now, I keep trying to think of actual scenarios that could happen, meaning that that person shows up on our doorstep, okay, and says, "Hey, I, I'm, I need to apologize. I want to be part of saving or stopping fascism." I have to keep thinking to myself, how am I going to process this? And if this happens, right? So what I'm getting at is, I'll end here. You're working on divesting, right? From the tech bro slave enslavement. And you're working on the mutual aid that now everyone's going to rely on because everything has faltered. And then now you're going to have to deal with people that you don't even want to see. I look at it this way: take it one moment at a time, not even one day at a time. Take it one moment at a time. When you are feeling overwhelmed at any moment, you say, okay, you know what? I am gonna go touch grass. I am going to have that 20-minute yoga nidra. And I'm a yoga instructor, by the way. So this is what Cathy does when she's feeling overwhelmed. She literally grounds herself. She gets on the floor and she just stops everything, because you cannot process if you are overwhelmed. And so, yes, whatever you can when you can, think about how you can divest, right, from the machine that is fascism, that's inclusive of capitalism, right? But also remember that you don't have to try everything all at once. Again, I told you, out of that, all those different, list of ways to divest, I picked one. I picked one, and it was email. Why? Because I use email every single day. Believe it or not, I don't have to look at anything else on the internet other than just my email. Like that's what I choose. But make it small, but just be consistent about it. And then that way, that when you are dealing with hopefully maybe giving mutual aid to others, right? But when that moment does come and that neighbor comes around looking to try and find a way to reconcile, you have the capacity. Okay. Don't give up on the idea that we can stop fascism, but also give yourself a lot of grace, okay? When the moments come that you want to punch someone out, and instead you decide either to pass them to someone else, quite literally, like when that moment comes and that neighbor has the guts to come forward, I'm going to tell them, you know what? There's a lot of resources, and I'll send you a resource on the email, but I really can't trust you. Like, and I would be very truthful, because I would want to punch them out. I would want to literally harm them for what they've done to the rest of the nation and the world, quite literally, right? USAID used to feed how many millions of people, and now 300,000 people are going to die in the next, if they haven't already, right? So pick your moments and know that what you're doing is making a difference. If enough of us, right, just take those consistent steps, we can defeat fascism. And again, it's not going to be a fast, but maybe in the next 4 years, we can at least come back to some resemblance of a democracy. Okay. So this isn't the most, I would say, uplifting message, but I wanted you to know that there is a resource, right? There are resources. And then there's give yourself the opportunity to create a game plan that then allows you the space, right, to literally help others, but at the same time, give yourself the headspace that you require. All right. So with that, let me know in the comments what you're going to try and divest from, and take it slow, right? Meantime, we have a lot going on, right? So stay with us. All right. Until next time, take care, take charge. God bless.